SwissNext in New York's first virtual demo day for Swiss startups. We're so pleased to have you all here, and we're very excited to hear from an amazing group of experienced entrepreneurs. This is the culmination of 2 weeks of intensive and interesting conversations about how to enter the US market. And we are very pleased to show you the progress that these startups have made. Before I go too deep into logistics, I should say that my name is Alicia Evangelista, and I'm the head of innovation at SwissNext Boston. I'm also joined today by Laura Stalder, who is the program manager at SwissNext in New York, as well as our 2 esteemed experts. We have Jason Allen, who is the vice president at MassVentures and is covering a lot of our life sciences background. And then we also have Val Livada, who is a little bit harder to introduce because he wears so many hats. I'm going to go ahead and say that Val heads up the Boston hub of the EU Enrich Program, as well as being involved as a mentor to several different startups, as well as Greentown Labs and Mass Robotics. So I'm going to summarize it there because I know I could keep going for both of you. Before we jump into the way that today is going to work, we have a short video to share with you from our brand new CEO, Benjamin Bowman. This is going to be an intro to him and also to SwissNext. So we'll go ahead with the video and then we'll jump back into our conversation.
Hello everybody from SwissNext Boston, and welcome to our startup demo day. My name is Benjamin and I am the new CEO of SwissNext, this place you're seeing here, which is the world's first science consulate. 20 years ago, SwissNext started with this vision of connecting some of Switzerland's brightest minds with the world's innovation hotspots. So it all started here in Boston and developed into what became the global SwissNext network, which now has 5 locations worldwide. So before we hear from some of the brightest entrepreneurs we have in Switzerland, I just wanted to thank our partner in this event and in our startup programs, which is InnoSwiss, the Swiss Innovation Agency, as well as our jurors, Jason Allen from MassVentures and Val Livada from the EU Enrich Program. And last but not least, best of luck to all the startups pitching tonight, and let's continue to inspire the world together.
So first up today, we have Thomas Schultz with CareerFairy. Thomas is going to be introducing us to what CareerFairy is doing to make virtual career matching easier and more personal. So we will get started with Thomas in just a moment. We just have to promote him up to a speaker and then he's ready to go. Thomas. There he is. Okay. Thomas, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I seem to have had some troubles with the connection. Is it better? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So, perfect. So can I share just briefly my screen, if that's all right?
Yes.
So basically, thanks to all. We are CareerFairy. We are a spin-off from ETH Zurich, and we have basically built a modern digital live stream platform which enables university career services to bring more companies and more authentic job insights to their students. Okay, so on the one hand, this enables companies to find talents and hire them very easily, but most of all, it helps students figure out what they really want to do in life. Okay, and how do we do that? So basically, this is what the platform looks like that we have built. So we create these very interactive virtual experiences that showcase young professionals and alumni across different companies. Okay, so basically this helps students see actual role models within startups, mid-sized and large companies, and projects themselves into a variety of potential opportunities. Okay. So the big question is, why do career centers love us? So basically, there are 3 main points. The first one is that they can set up a platform. Okay. The second one is that through a network of CareerFairy, so we have hundreds of companies hiring the CareerFairy, they can enable new companies and startups to book events for their students and also clearly get additional revenue. Okay. The third thing is that they can make everything super measurable. So they have their own dashboard where they can display how many people have actually attended the event, invited by companies show that to as a last point, so far we have been going for 12 months, and many of Europe's leading career centers and universities and companies are using CareerFairy. So we started from Switzerland and have actually most of Swiss universities that already work with us, and now also many companies and universities in the DACH region, which means Germany and Austria. And yeah, so basically we would love to also expand it to the US, and looking forward to hearing your questions.
Thank you, Thomas. We'll open the floor to Val and Jason to ask some questions.
I'll start real quick. Congratulations on your success so far. Really interesting idea. I'm curious, you know, what is it that career centers use instead of CareerFairy? What do they use today? And how is this vastly different from that?
Mm-hmm. So basically, it depends what for, okay? So on the one hand, career centers for their events, okay, they use Zoom or WebEx, these kind of platforms, okay? So basically, why we're better than them is basically because setting up the events is much easier. And the second thing is the network aspect, okay? So Zoom is just a software, but CareerFairy is a platform. So we have hundreds of companies that book live stream events for different universities. So every new university or every new career center that comes into the platform is immediately visible to all these companies that can then book a live stream event for revenue with that university with one click or a few clicks.
So it's like a marketplace.
It's a marketplace, absolutely. Yeah, it's not only this new Zoom, this cooler Zoom that we created, but it's definitely also a marketplace. Okay, and that's why most of the career centers here in Europe use it actually.
Got it. Okay.
So
I don't want to ask too many questions.
Thomas, if I'm a company looking for you know, to hire students, what do I do to create, you know, the interaction, the platform? Or I guess it's not the platform, but
yeah, that's a very good question. So basically, companies hiring or recruiting on CareerFairy today, what they do is that through our platform, they can directly ask the career centers, okay? So far, there's still a few manual things involved, but we're automatizing everything. They can click which career centers they would like to reach with their event. For instance, I want to reach technical students at ETH Zurich and EPF Lausanne, which are the main technical universities in Switzerland. I want to reach all computer scientists there. And then basically the mailing to all these students goes out from the universities, okay? So I basically set up a 45-minute event slot. I take one or few speakers that are in a similar role, maybe a role that I'm hiring for, and these people will then interact during these 45 minutes with all these students at multiple universities. Does it make sense, or did it answer your question?
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
So
we hit our 2-minute mark, so Thomas, we have to cut you off, but you can continue your conversation after the program. And thank you very much for your presentation.
Thanks a lot for your questions. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Next, we have Nicolas Stab, who's the CEO of Cybera Global, which is a fintech company that developed a platform to prevent cybercrime. Nicolas, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Nicolas Staub. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cybera Global. And with Cybera, we are building a fintech platform to prevent cybercrime and online fraud. Okay, next slide. But before Cybera Global, I was working as a public prosecutor, a cybercrime prosecutor here in Switzerland. And my job, together with the criminal police, was to catch cybercriminals. We just had one problem. We didn't catch any of them, sadly. Now about the result, we read almost every day today in the newspaper, with billions of dollars being transferred illegally through the financial system. But how exactly? Well, here's a typical case of a cybercrime, and it's actually quite simple. a so-called CEO fraud, where cybercriminals pretend to be a CEO, email a person at the finance department, and trick this person into transferring money on a criminal bank account where criminals can cash it out. Now, the problem today is that banks are blind when it comes to those criminal bank accounts. With our fintech platform, we are going to change this for financial institutions, bringing them much more effective tools to prevent and react related to such financial transactions. We are doing this with a blocklist database of criminal bank accounts using latest privacy preserving technologies. And we're doing it with e-notification solutions where we can react globally and fast in order to stop money before criminals can cash it out. We are an amazing team of senior advisors and professionals from law enforcement and cybersecurity, as well as business. We closed our angel round early this year with prominent investors such as a former CEO of UBS. We're building our platform with InnoFactory that is backed by 2 Swiss banks and are ready to go live in Switzerland and also global with our platform as early as next year. And if this sounds exciting and if you want to invest to a platform that fights cybercrime and online fraud more effective, we're very much looking forward to get the conversation started. Thank you very much, and more than happy to answer any questions.
Great.
Nicola, this is Val. Explain to me a little bit more. You basically are able to identify these fraudulent accounts, and then you alert the banks. But how? But this is something, I mean, right, you can identify the things that exist, but can you do any preventive kind of stuff?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. So, and if I understand correctly, your question is actually for our blocklist exchange database, where do we actually get the data from?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So there's various sources. The most important ones are from banks themselves, who share their suspicion on criminal bank accounts, and we make it available to other banks as an early alert system. Then we get it from police agencies, where we are now entering into public-private partnerships and have our first ones closed here in Switzerland. Then we are combining it with our second kind of product of the platform with the e-notification solution, where actually victim deliver us the data. And then in addition to that, we have 2 more innovative ways via cybersecurity partners. We try to identify criminally used bank accounts already before, let's say, in phishing emails where we see that such a bank account is communicated to a victim, and we use that as well to insert in our block list. And just almost finished, very important, of course, is the quality of such data that we can guarantee and share it in real time as fast as possible with banks.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, and I think I do, so you become the central point for all these people, banks and other police reporting to you that they found something that seems not right, and then you quickly disseminate that information to your clients.
Exactly. So our vision is basically, if anywhere in the world there is a quality suspicion that a bank account is abused for cybercrime and online fraud, that it should be in our platform. And we have sort of an intelligence system behind it with a simple rating as a result if there is a match with a bank. And as you said, we will be implemented with banks as an additional layer, sort of fraud prevention system. And we have first evidence that this will be much more effective than today's approaches that are mostly pattern-based and don't work as well for these kind of scams and online frauds.
Thank you, Nicola. We have to stop you there. Sorry you didn't get a chance to ask a question, Jason, but I'm sure you'll be able to ask Simon something during our next one. Thank you, Nicola. Next up, we have Simon Breitler, who's with EraCal. Simon is working on, with his colleagues, is working on a solution for obesity. So we're going to switch fields slightly and go over to life sciences. So Simon, the floor is yours.
Hello, let me just share my screen. So let's get this over with. Okay. Good morning to Boston. My name is Simon, and I'm delighted to tell you today about how EraCal Therapeutics is joining the fight against obesity. Obesity is a pandemic. Every third American nowadays is obese, and that's obese, not just overweight. However, this is often considered the individual's problem, and even though this could be further from the truth, this is also why we need to care as a society. Remember that COVID stimulus package back in March, that just about covers the cost of obesity and its associated comorbidities for 1 year. And that cost reoccurs annually, and it's only going up. EraCal is joining the fight against the obesity pandemic by developing ERA-107, a new class of appetite suppressor with better safety and efficacy than the standard of care in preclinical animal models. ERA-107 was discovered through an innovative screening platform that was in zebrafish larvae that was developed at Harvard University and has undergone further translational research at the University of Zurich. We're not in this fight alone. We rely on deep industry know-how, such as from our board member, Ann Kessler, who led the development of Xenical, or Ali, an FDA-approved pharmacotherapy against obesity during her time at Roche. We can also rely on scientific advice from the inventor of vilazodone, an antidepressant currently on the market. Furthermore, we're funded through our seed round by Bernina, BioInvest, and Red Alpine, two large Swiss VC funds, which invest in biotech, as well as the Novartis Venture Fund through the University of Zurich Life Sciences Fund. Now, we're currently looking to expand our team to include clinical and regulatory know-how, as well as, of course, funding for the clinical phase. And I hope I've been able to pique your interest and would be delighted to talk to you in person later on, or if you could just write me an email. Thank you very much for your attention and have a great day.
Good job. This is very important, especially as Halloween is around the corner. As you know, it's very big deal here in Massachusetts. So I'm curious. Can you tell me again, where are you in the clinical process? You said you're preclinical, or?
Yep, we're still preclinical. We're finishing up lead optimization, planning to do a clinical candidate selection next year and start our preclinical tox package.
And this discovery, can you tell me a little bit about how, obviously once you raise the money, how do you plan to use the funds?
So we're currently funded through that preclinical phase that also covers the preclinical tox in 2 species, as well as the CMC package for phase 1. We're looking further down the road. We're looking to get funding for phase 1, as well as potentially a phase 2A study to demonstrate efficacy. But that will, that's basically our Series A that we're looking for towards the end of next year.
Gotcha. Great.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Simon, I know that in Europe, this drug that we have here that we usually use for diabetes type 2, metformin, how does your appetite suppressor compare to metformin?
So metformin doesn't actually do anything against obesity itself. It doesn't lead to weight loss, or not to any substantial amount, unfortunately. Only if it's given in combination with other medication. We're currently comparing our molecule against semaglutide or semaglutide from Novo, which is becoming the new standard of care. They just had 4 phase 3s read out for obesity, and they're showing spectacular numbers. So that's the benchmark we're using, and we are competitive.
So you're dealing with major weight loss as opposed to what metformin is good for about 5-10 pounds, but that's it.
If you're lucky, yes. No, the goal that you need to reach in order to actually have a shot at approval is at least 5 kilograms per year. But that's basically outdated by now. As I said, the semaglutide study shows about 12 to 15. So that's where we're aiming.
Okay.
Thank you, Simon. Sorry to cut you off. We have to jump to the next presenter. We're switching industry again, and next is Renee Fitzner, who's the CEO of Experify, a marketing technology company. So Renee, the floor is yours. Renee, you're on mute.
Okay, very good. Now again, hello everyone. Good morning to Boston. My name is Renee and I'm co-founder of Experify. So what's the reality today? The reality of today is that even in an e-commerce driven retail environment, brands are still opening, hugely expensive showrooms. And the reason for this is that people still want to experience products before actually buying them. So here's the thing. Building expensive showrooms is, as we think, completely inefficient when it comes to simply giving people a chance to experience your products. Why? Well, because as brands, you could leverage on thousands of opportunities out there to see their products in action, namely their already sold products with their already happy customers. And that is exactly the opportunity we're going after with Experify. So with Experify, it's a global experience platform that enables you as a user who's interested in a specific product to easily and securely connect with someone who already owns that product. Ideally, this person would be a friend or a colleague or just a neighbor close by. But either way, with that person, you could get into a real, genuine conversation about the product and even see and test that product authentically in real life and potentially just next door. So where are we? We are live since June, and at this point we have 9 early adopter brands on board. Turns out that especially direct-to-consumer brands love us as a highly scalable alternative to showrooms. And since the US is the leader when it comes to direct-to-consumer brands, we want and we need to get into the US market as soon as possible. So please do reach out if you want to hear more about our broader vision, the mechanics behind the model, and especially how we incentivize people to show their products. And just to say it again, brands are already paying for this. We are looking for more brands to actually join Experify, and we will be looking for a seed funding soon. So please do reach out if you want to know more. Thank you very much.
Wow. Do you have a specific kind of brand or product that seems to bubble to the top?
Yeah, so basically at the moment, our go-to-market industry is bicycles. And the reason for this is that bicycles are kind of high involvement products. And this is kind of the thing that bubbles up. So everything high involvement, all kinds of sports equipment, kitchen goods. Also, we think that actually mobility, electromobility will be one of those things. Hi-fi audio is we are talking to. So everything that's kind of, high involvement and a bit more pricey at the beginning.
I'll be really brief because I know we have short time. I think it's really interesting. It reminds me of kind of the next level of people who look at YouTube videos for product recommendations. It's like maybe there could be a link to this product to say, hey, why don't you try it? And then also focusing on people who are very passionate about something. So people who love cycling, I mean, that's all that they talk about, right? So I see some opportunities there. I'll leave it there. I yield my time to Val.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I agree. I think that what you're doing here is basically one step further than when you read consumer reviews of particular products. Those Absolutely. They're wonderful. I do it all the time if I want to buy something. And I think that in areas, like you said, bicycles and other areas, having even better testimonials and access to the people that have own the equipment is wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. I can't anything to this. This is really why we're doing this. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Jason and Val. And good timing. You guys are getting good at this 2-minute thing. So next up, we're switching back to life sciences and chemistry. I'm pleased to introduce Jingwen Shi, who is with GDBspace, the Google Maps of molecules. Jingwen, over to you.
So hello everyone in Boston and in Switzerland. The problem we are addressing is that the hunt for drug molecules has traditionally been a trial and error process among the vast number of possible molecules. At GDBspace, we are a startup based on 15 years of research at University of Bern in Switzerland. And we are creating the Google Map of Molecules, which is based on the world's largest pool of virtual molecules. So as an example, if you would like to create a pill to make people fall in love, you could search for the love hormone oxytocin, see where it lands on the Google Map of Molecules, then select the 100 neighboring molecules, which is indicating that these molecules have similar bioactivities, and then further optimize for stability and so on. So our technology has already been adopted by some of the leading brands in pharmaceuticals, but also in cosmetics and agrochemicals. They all benefit from reducing the iterative process in molecule discovery. For example, from 30 to 40 cycles down to 3 to 4 cycles, and hence also reducing time and cost. So if you are interested in GDBspace and would like to see a demo, please answer yes in the poll, in the SwissNext poll, and let's connect.
Go ahead, Val.
Oh, you know, it's interesting. I spent some time over at MIT in material research labs, and there is a huge emphasis on doing the same things when you're dealing with how do you create advanced materials. So I can relate, I think, to what you're doing. But my question is, you mentioned that the two areas that could be quite interesting are ag tech and cosmetics. Yeah, so my sense is that the big time pharmaceutical companies might already be doing something like this, but the adjacent areas could be very useful to you. And, you know, if you're interested in one of the people that you might have talked to them, but we have a very active buyer group here in Boston that's looking both at ag tech and life sciences, could be good people for you to talk to.
Absolutely. Sounds great. And referring to your comment on cosmetics, so more specifically flavors and fragrances, one of our first adopters is Firmenich. I don't know if you have heard, but it's a leading one based here in Switzerland, and we are very interested to talk to the Boston life science community.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of our portfolio companies called Ginkgo Bioworks, which started to do something similar to this in the aroma space of fragrances. I'm curious, is there a software and a hardware to this, or what exactly is the?
Right. So our model is for larger companies, we mostly basically hand down the software that they integrate on their in-house platform. So they don't need to give us the data, we give them the software. For SMEs, we have web-based platform for the software, which is on a secure cloud server, but also we also have a service second pillar of business model.
Great.
Thank you very much, Jingwen. Next, We have Basil Philip, who's the CEO of Genistat, a company that develops smart systems to enable the creation of content and revenue strategies. Basil, the turn is yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Laura. Good morning and good afternoon to everybody. I'm very excited to be here. And so for the last 5 years, Genistat built data science systems that analyze audience metrics and video content in the TV industry. And over time, I programmed less and managed more, and I started a personal blog as a creative outlet. And I realized how difficult it is to find an audience for it. And I'm not even trying to make money with it. And to make money from content, a popular concept is to have 1,000 true fans that are willing to pay you around $100 a year each. And with services like Stripe and Patreon, it's super easy to actually collect that money. But how do you find those 1,000 true fans in the first place? And this is an issue that all independent content creators struggle with, and their numbers are growing rapidly. In 2018, there were 500,000 podcasts. Now, 2 years later, this number has already doubled to 1 million. And I think this trend will continue as more school kids dream of being a YouTuber than being an astronaut. And so we are developing a systematic, data-driven approach to find your 1,000 true fans online. And as a first step, you get access to a carefully researched knowledge base that helps you lay the groundwork. And then we analyze your content and automatically propose promotional assets from it. So we could say, this is the best quote from your podcast, or this is a good shot that you should use for your video preview. And every time you publish new content, we measure how it affects your subscription numbers and automatically adapt the publishing strategy. We don't promise an audience, but we promise that our system takes the grind out of the promotional work. And over the last few months, I've had many conversations with all types of content creators. We plan to go live with an MVP before the end of the year. And we are looking for creators that are interested in giving us feedback and being test clients. We hope to help creators make a living online by giving them more time to focus on what they do best and enjoy most, making awesome content.
Are you focused on a specific kind of content creator? So like obviously Instagram has a ton of fitness people, and then there's wellness people, but politics. Is there anything that kind of rises to the top for you?
So far, we've been focusing a lot on podcasters, and there's two reasons for it. One is that the ecosystem is very fragmented. So Spotify is trying to kind of change this and consolidate it, but it's a much more fragmented landscape, kind of aching back to the web of the 90s at the moment. And the other thing is that a podcast is very hard to present visually for obvious reasons on things like Instagram. So a YouTube video is much easier to get attention for. So it's YouTube podcasters, but within the podcasters, I think we're still looking for smaller niches.
Unfortunately, I'm of a generation that doesn't quite connect to this. So I wish that I knew more about it, but I don't.
I'll follow up really quickly then. So just in terms of the business model, are you thinking a monthly subscription that folks pay for? And is it also kind of a learning management system, right? So like if I wanted to start a podcast and I know a little bit about it, are there articles to teach me and help me grow and learn how to do it?
Yeah. So we're thinking about the freemium model where you start, and I think you would learn. So the learning would be free so that you can get started. And then the idea would be if we allow you to make money, that you get revenue, we would ask you to pay for the service. One reason being that there's a lot of advice out there on how to build an audience, but a lot of it is basically snake oil. So it's, the top 10 tools to use to do this and that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Basil. We really appreciate an excellent presentation. Next up, we're going to be switching gears again. In some ways, literally, we're going to be talking about an underwater drone with Igor Martin and Hydromea. Igor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, Boston, and thanks to the fabulous SwissNext team for organizing all this for us. A great program. My name is Igor Martin. I'm a CEO of Hydromea. We specialize in underwater autonomous inspection robotics. And here on the slide, you see a hydro turbine. It is suspended in air, an awkward position for a turbine to be in. It is going through an inspection process, and this inspection process takes it out of commission for up to 2 months, which is significant economic cost to the operator of a hydropower dam. And that's just one of many examples of how inspections of submerged assets today are highly inefficient. They cost a lot of money, they lead to downtimes like this, or sometimes even carry safety risks as people enter into confined spaces. And the underwater asset integrity market is predicted to grow to 14 billion in 5 years, and Hydromea aims to disrupt that market. So basically what we do fundamentally, we're a robotics as a service company. We develop portable autonomous underwater drones for confined spaces to inspect an asset in situ, collect data, and provide certification report to the client. That's got a number of benefits with it. And why us? Why Hydromea? Well, we have an edge in autonomous technology. We spent over 15 years on this, and we're taking it to confined spaces, something that is not done up to today. And we can do it because we've developed a number of enabling technologies, some of which are quite unique. For instance, wireless optical communication that allows high bandwidth data transmission underwater, something that we've actually already commercialized and have deployments in the commercial markets with. And that removes a cable between a pilot and a vehicle and pretty much makes it almost like aerial drone in the air, but a drone underwater. Our beachhead market is hydropower. There we go to market through a service partner. In this case, it's GE. We have a pilot with them end of this year, and if everything goes well, we will commercialize our first drones in 21. And we have other opportunities in other water-rich verticals. So we're now raising funds, 1.5 million in the seed round, and we welcome investors from water-heavy industries, experience in that, or experience with scale-up startups. Thank you.
So Igor, your device, you're planning to use this device for things like underwater hydro. You're looking at things from outside or inside the system? Or
inside.
Can you do both? So you're inside the system. Can you apply it to hull inspection inside of large container ships, cargo carriers?
No, we don't do hull because hull is from the outside, but yes, we actually are finalizing a project with Total, one of the super majors, who wants us to develop a solution for inspection of ballast water tanks on the floating platforms. And that exactly, as you say, it's inside the hull. It's between the cargo and the outside of the ship, yes.
Yeah, actually, that's what I meant. It's okay, so you are looking at that area.
Correct, yeah. That's actually the picture here is a ballast water tank, as you see, with number of ribs and manholes, and which is quite a difficult environment to inspect today.
It's very difficult, but it's big need in that area.
Indeed, exactly, yes. So that's a project that we are starting with Total, and we believe that we have a good solution for that.
Okay. There are, years ago, I talked to a bunch of the European big shipping fleets like Maersk, and they're very interested in this space.
Yeah, no, indeed, we are connected with Maersk, and we are based in Lausanne. Geneva is the headquarters for MSC, which is one of the largest as well shipping companies. So we do keep in touch with them, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Jason. If you want to ask a question to Igor, we'll connect you later. We are welcoming our next presenter, Romana Kunz. We're switching to a totally different industry again, our tech industry. So Romana is the CEO of iazzu. She has a startup that uses augmented reality to show off artworks onto your wall. Romana, over to you.
Thank you, Laura, for the intro. Hi, everyone. It's very nice to meet you. I'm going to share my screen here with you. So just a second. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Romana. I'm the founder and CEO of the company called iazzu. And we at iazzu are changing the way people discover and collect art. We basically unlock the potential of the 68 billion art market, and where the most important part is based in the US. Archaic systems, there is still way too much paper floating around. Events are canceled, art fairs postponed due to COVID, and we live in a digital age. The art market is not yet prepared for the digital generation. So we at iazzu make it easy to discover art from the comfort of your home. Our unique algorithm and our technology learns from users' behavior and keeps the audience up to date with relevant information according to their interest. On top of that, what we differentiate ourselves with from competitors such as Artsy or ArtLogic is the immersive experience of allowing to visualize any artwork in any space and at any time, thanks to our unique augmented reality function. We are actually the only one in the art market and tech market and the product on the market today offering such a complete user experience. And our business model is a SaaS business model. We are currently raising 1.2 million and we already got 100K funded. And we're still looking to raise 1.1 million in addition to further develop our AR technology, but also the 3D technology and machine learning, but also for our marketing activities and to open the US market. So if you feel like contributing with an impact to this extremely fast growing online art market as an investor or a partner, or you got contacts for us, please contact me. Simply scan the QR code and book your slot. And remember, it's now the right time with COVID to take immediate action. We got our product on the market with paying clients, and our team is the one we'd love to work with. Thank you for your attention.
This is great. Thank you for this. I'm curious, just at a very high level, if you can kind of walk me through. So the customer is the person who has the art gallery for you, or is the customer the person who's looking for art?
Our customer is currently the business. So basically we work with galleries, museums, but also corporate collections, state art collections, really everyone who exhibits art to public audience or sells it.
Got it. And so how do you think about finding the people who want to buy that art? Is it through Facebook advertising, or is there already a group of people who go to Sotheby's or whatever that would sign up for this?
There's different approaches to this. First of all, we create the marketplace, and currently it's like that well, people are actively, for example, getting informed about the current exhibition from the gallery they already know, or from the museum. So they basically inform them that they are on the iazzu application. And we make it very easy because you can share each content from the application with one click, either on WhatsApp or social media. So it creates a snowball effect, and we invite therefore more audiences to join who gets immediate access to the information as well, and re-engage them through our with our technology, basically keep them informed with relevant information. So we bring them back. And on the other hand, we're also creating currently to tell you quickly about that, well, the marketplace, which I said, which also allows, people can actually save their own artworks in their collection, which match the taste as well, and where we can multiply.
Gotcha, thanks.
Sorry, Val, I'll have also to cut off this. We're back to life sciences with Elena Gross, who is the CEO of KetoSwiss. It's a nutraceutical company that develops preventive therapy of higher frequency migraines. Elena, you're on mute.
Great. Hello everyone, I'm Elena Gross, a neuroscience PhD and the CEO of KetoSwiss.
And I'm also an ex-chronic migraine patient. What if I told you that this migraine patient and myself, this Alzheimer patient and myself 6 years ago actually have one important disease mechanism in common? Both of our brains are starving. How is that possible, given that food was never as abundant as it is today? Well, due to our current carbohydrate-rich diets, our brains rely almost exclusively on glucose. But this is not what we were designed for. 10,000 years ago, during times of glucose scarcity, our livers would produce an alternative and more effective energy substrate for the brain. Ketone bodies, ketones for short. KetoSwiss brings this ancient fuel back into the modern world with a patent-backed, well-tolerated, easily implemented approach. We produce them in the lab and formulate them in such a way that they will supply your brain with energy 24/7 with just 2 oral doses. So we can get modern humans back into ketosis, but does that actually help mitigate neurological diseases? Preliminary data suggests yes. Here you can see the results of a phase 1 proof of concept study on 5 chronic migraine patients at the University Hospital in Basel. Even with a first not very potent product, a 50% reduction in migraine frequency could be achieved with just 1 month of ketone supplementation. Neuroimaging studies in Alzheimer patients have shown that while glucose metabolism in the brain is impaired here on the left, ketones can get into the brain on the right and help fuel improved cognition. In order to do further product development, clinical trials, and get regulatory approval to launch in the US, we're looking for up to $10 million and investors with an added value in a Series A round. So if you want to help us fuel brains, please fuel KetoSwiss. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your questions now.
Jason, you okay?
Yeah, I just took up the last one, so I wanted to give you a chance to.
I figured this is your space, but more than one. But I mean, this the first application that you're thinking about is for migraines.
Yes,
But
it's migraine.
it sounds to me that this is something that would, influence a lot of the neurological diseases.
Yes, I think it's the 3rd most common disease in the world. Every 7th patient has migraine. A lot of diseases that have some energy deficit to it will also have migraine as one of their features. So mitochondrial diseases will have migraine episodes in them. Epilepsy can grow out into migraines, for example, or epilepsy patients sometimes also have migraines in addition to their convulsions as well. So there's a lot of shared comorbidities and shared mechanisms, pathophysiological mechanisms across neurological diseases. And that is different to what most experts would tell you or have been telling you at least 10 years ago, where they were looking for these very specific differences across diseases. And we were taught everything is so different, but it actually has a lot of shared pathways, at least neurological diseases.
There's a lot of work being done in that space of neurological diseases that connected to the gut microbiome.
Yes, that's also one area, a big area of shared comorbidity, and one area where our key compound, beta-hydroxybutyrate, can help, because it's, that one of the substances that your gut microbiome produces that is so good for the brain is butyrate. Now, our compound is beta-hydroxybutyrate, is super close and is actually using similar transport system and potentially has similar actions in the brain and can also feed the gut microbiome. And since we're ingesting it orally, there is one hypothesis is also, and we know this from diet experiments, ketogenic diet experiments, that the gut microbiome does improve. And in epilepsy, it explains a huge part of the therapeutic benefit, actually. That is correct.
Thank you.
Really briefly, I think the only thing that I would say as you go to market and you think about the United States is when you talk about keto and then you talk about migraines, keto has a very specific connotation here in the wellness space. So you may get some pushback and you may need to explain yourself a little bit more about what you mean by this, but I think it's an interesting idea. I also think you can start with migraines, but there are, as Val mentioned, you can kind of think about this as like, okay, well, you can use this, but there's a number of neurological issues that you can attack with it. But just something to think about in terms of explanation and thinking about the culture here in the United States and how we think about keto.
Yeah, it's fairly popular over there, or it has been around for a bit longer than over here. That's for sure.
All because of CrossFit.
Okay, great. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena and Val and Jason. Next, we have Justin Owen, who's the Chief Financial Officer at Pexapark, which is a software company in the renewable energy market. Justin, over to you. And you're still on mute.
Hi, my name is Justin Owen. I'm the CFO of Pexapark here in Zurich, and I work with a team of founders and senior management that have 40 plus years of renewable energy sales, trading, and origination. What this team saw when they founded the company 3 years ago is two things. One, the result of the continued drop in prices for solar and wind assets is resulting in the ending of government supports and feed-in tariffs and subsidies. The second thing they saw is that this is pushing the top line revenue for renewable assets into the open markets. And what was historically viewed as an asset that was very similar to a fixed bond or an FX with the government supports is moving into the open markets and becoming a highly volatile traded market. What this is resulting in is the transformation of the business model for the ownership and operation of renewable assets from an old world of very similar to real estate to a new world of a fully commodity traded operation. This results in the need of a full sales and trading organization, which is represented by the pink dots here. And we're building software to assist in all of these for the specific market of renewable energies, origination, risk management, and portfolio management. So our company has been around since 2017. So far, we've already supported over 8 gigawatts of PPAs. Our software currently manages 3 gigawatts of renewable assets. We launched our software for the first time in September of last year. We're just under 1 million in ARR at this point and plan to end this year at 1.5 million in ARR. We're looking for introductions into the renewable energy space in North America and introductions for potential partnerships. So thank you.
When you say introductions, you mean companies or organizations? I mean, here in Massachusetts, we have the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center that has a fund and.
Yeah, that's exactly the type of people we're looking. We've been very busy in Europe over the last 3 years, and now we're looking to build our network in the United States as we look for market entry early next year.
I can connect you with a contact there then.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Justin, who's the competition for you guys? What other groups are doing this?
There are a couple of companies out there looking to create open markets for the transactions of power purchase agreements. They're really focused on the corporate side, the Googles and the Amazons of the world buying this power. We're very much focused on the other side of this transaction, the ownership and the sell side. And providing them with the tools that they need to transact in this market and secure their businesses over the long term. So we don't see direct competition for the software we're building. We see other people in the environment that we're working within.
Okay, so you're focusing on the owners of these.
Yep, those that take risk.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, just as Justin mentioned, the Mass Clean Energy Center is a real good group. We also have a world-class incubator called Greentown Labs here in Boston that has an enormous community in this space. So there might be some good connections there for you as well.
That would be great. I'd really appreciate it.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Justin, and thank you again, Jason and Val. So next up, of course, we are switching gears again, and we are going to be speaking with Glenn Melliter, the CEO of SecuraXis, and they are trying to make sense out of the noise pollution of the cities. Glenn, over to you.
Thank you, Alicia. Good afternoon. Very happy to be here with you. My name is Glenn. I'm the CEO and co-founder of SecuraXis. I have a very simple question. Do you live in a city? I'm sure yes. Therefore, you're impacted by noise. Noise pollution is a big problem. According to the US Environmental Protection Agency, millions of US citizens are impacted by noise. On the other hand, cities are hungry for data and are eager to tackle this problem, noise pollution. At SecuraXis, we have developed a solution that monitors urban noise in order to help cities improve their operation and also save money. Therefore, our solution can help reduce noise pollution, but at the same time answer citizen concerns about privacy and the environment. With our solution, you can monitor the traffic, for instance, with a solution 80% cheaper than a normal camera, which is the solution used currently. You can make electricity reduction on street lighting up to 60% by detecting the traffic. You can have a 24/7 monitoring solution for biodiversity monitoring. And you can monitor the security in the street even when you cannot see. To achieve that, we have developed a solution that is using acoustics and deep learning. We turn sound into information to trigger action for cities and planners. We have a patented software which is called Sonal. It is currently installed in 6 cities in Europe. We are about to install the solution in 5 more cities. And next year we will have more than 100 installations globally. Our call to action is very simple. We want to enter the US market because we know there is a need. We're already in touch with some councils and municipalities in the US. Therefore, we are looking for distribution partners and investors. Thank you very much. Very happy to take your questions. And you can see one installation behind me. I don't know if you can see the background. It's in Geneva, one sensor. We have several sensors installed. We can count the cars and monitor the noise coming from the cars at the same time.
Can you talk a little bit about the competitive landscape? There are a number of different solutions from kind of large contractors here in the United States, and how do you think about that, and how do you plan to kind of differentiate?
Yes, so there are 2 types of competitors for us. If we are talking about traffic monitoring, all companies working with video-based monitoring or infrared or also radar technology. So we are somewhere in the middle. I would say that camera high-end technology, and there is low-end technology like infrared and radars. We are in the middle because with the very cheap solution, we can do not as much as a camera, but at least we can provide data that can already help do something about it.
Gotcha.
And there are also initiatives around acoustic, but our main differentiator is that we don't focus on the hardware, but rather on the software, which means that you can address several verticals right away, instead of being stuck with one hardware and answering only one type of use case.
So Glenn, you capture the data with your systems, but what can a city do to address the noise pollution issues?
Let's take one simple example here in Geneva, very close to my house. They have made the decision to reduce from 50 to 30 kilometers per hour the speed in some streets because of the noise. But there is no way to really know if it has an impact. So there is no way to do that. So specialists are just hoping that it works. Now, thanks to this solution, they have real-time information, and they know how the noise evolved over time. And even in a, I would say, predictive maintenance standpoint, they can also predict when the road becomes too noisy because the ground is degrading. So we need to invest money in order to change it so that neighbors, and they don't complain, basically.
I get it. Just a quick one for you. Right now, I live outside of Boston in a suburb, and there's a big noise issue that has arisen recently, and it's from lawn care equipment.
Okay.
And there are several suburbs here in the Boston area that are out trying to impose some noise restrictions in lawn care.
That's exactly what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we help measure the noise, and then you can take action.
Good. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Glenn. And we are actually running ahead of time. So if you can't tell, we're letting you guys go over with your questions a little bit. Lucky people at the end of the list. So last but not least today, we have Frederick Johnson Joseph, who's the CEO of SurgeonsLab. SurgeonsLab is developing novel solutions for training neurosurgeons to get them into the surgery faster. Over to you, Frederick.
Good morning and good afternoon, all. So I'm Frederick. I'm the CEO and founder of SurgeonsLab. So it's a spin-off from the University of Bern. We all know about brain surgeries where there are very micro blood vessels which supply the blood to the brain tissues. So these brain surgeries are very complex in nature and are very high-risk surgeries. If the surgeries are not planned in a proper way, it may lead to disaster where a patient can go on stroke, get paralyzed. So on getting this problem, we came up with a solution on developing a simulator, which looks like this, wherein a real patient-specific head model is built out of different manufacturing technology. And then we let the surgeons train on the simulator before going on a patient. This is patented, and we already have 25 early users on the simulator. The idea is the simulator will be on the hospital end, wherein a head model will be dispatched to the hospital, and then the surgeon and the senior doctor can train several times before going to real surgery. The approach will be just transferred to the surgery so that to make sure that the surgery is so successful. There is also a business case where we can also make use of the same simulator to train the medical residents and the fellows in the hospital in order to make sure that they can pre-operatively, they can operate on a real patient before getting graduated, and also the time to get a board certification or getting a medical graduation is also faster here. We already got 17 letters of intent from several top medical centers in the world. And we have also got investments from Siemens Healthineers and B. Braun for $500,000 in the last 3-4 months now. And we also have University of Bern who has invested like nearly $2 million into the project in the last 2-3 years. And we have one of the 2 top neurosurgeons on our board, and I'm the CEO, and David Bervini is the neurosurgeon, he's the CMO. At the moment, we have got a commitment for 1.2 million USD from investors and grants, and we are looking for a small bridging round at the moment in the next 6 months to build additional 30 simulators. We have 20 at the moment to do the phase 1 medical education business in the US. To be part of the beautiful journey of our startup, please feel free to contact me anytime or write me an email. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on your success so far. This is really interesting. I'm curious how you think about can you talk to me a little bit more about how the simulator would fit within the current workflow compared to what the workflow is today, right? So right now, if a surgeon needs to do something, they go through their typical process, but this would be adding a step, correct?
Exactly. So I'll just tell how it happens. In the US, it's like if there is a day, if there is a surgery on Monday, there is a group of doctors sitting preparing the 2D image, CT images. And there is no real 3D information involved in that. So they try to prepare their mind mentally only with this information. So the idea will be like there will be an inclusion of additional step before this case meetings. There will be a simulator so that the group of doctors can prepare not only with the images but also with the real model in there.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it's interesting because you want, with all these types of things, the idea is to have a better outcome. So
exactly.
Research and key opinion leaders who are leading the charge on this is very important, because obviously if someone is going to go for brain surgery, you want to know that they are adequately prepared and ready to go. So I mean, it's interesting. And now the simulator it's a device, and is there also kind of like a fake, like skull? I think I saw that, or was it just kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a complete replica of the whole brain anatomy. So there is a soft tissue in there. There is all the required anatomy in there. There is also the pathology, which is nothing but the diseased blood vessels in there, which exactly looks like in the real patient. So you have to do from the start of peeling off a skin to reaching the anatomy and operating, everything is exactly the same. And the consistency, haptics, and tactility is also the same.
What is that? What is that tissue made out of? Like,
it's polymeric substance, which is a trade secret of SurgeonsLab.
Okay. Okay. No more questions.
Thank you.
But you said that you have about 20 of these devices already built?
Yes. Yeah.
And what is you would offer this, you would sell these products, or you'd do what?
No, the
first
service. No, at the first we will not sell this in simulators. Rather, we wanted to do workshops. So we have planned for a workshop with 40 neurosurgical residents in Bern in the March of 2021. So there is 40 residents will be training on these 20 simulators. And then we will be entering into the sale of simulators at the end of next year.
But you're thinking of selling these things to...
Exactly.
Okay, and do you have a rough price in mind for something like this, or?
Yes, it costs from a range of 70 to 150,000.
Okay.
It depends on the range of low fidelity simulator to that of a high fidelity simulator.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I've seen a couple of examples of 3D rendering of brains, and for pre-surgery and stuff like that. But you have a complete unit here, and it also has haptics, as you said. So
exactly.
That's interesting.
So the software which I shown in the simulator also has this 3D rendering. So a surgeon, when he is preparing for the surgery, he can also have the 2D images, the 3D rendering in front of him when he is preparing on the model.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Frederick. Thank you, Jason and Val. That is the last of our presenting startups. And so since we do have some extra time, I know Val and Jason, we cut you off on some of your questions. So if you had a burning question left, we would have time to bring the presenter back up and ask it. Otherwise, we could certainly adjourn early.
No burning questions on my end. This has been very interesting. And look, I mean, what can we do to help here? Jason and I live in a very rich environment, as you know, Alicia, of people that can be very helpful to startups like this. So how can we help the process?
I would say that for both you and Jason, as well as anyone else who is on the call and not speaking, if you know somebody who would be interested in any of these solutions or who would have an opinion on them that would be helpful for understanding entry into the US market, please go ahead and let either SwissNext know and we can make the connection, or reach out directly to the startups.